And now,
Really?
your Rocky Mountain Chevy dealer's strong play of the weekend.
Really?
First pitch, Xander swings, sends it in the air to left field and deep. Lyle is back on the warning track.
Yes,
at
sir.
the wall, gonna go! Grand slam, Xander Bogaerts. Second slam of the season for the Padres. They have both come this weekend, and with nobody out in the top of the first inning, the Padres lead it 4-0.
All right. Xander, good pick. That's your Chevy Strong play of the game right there. Know it today between 3 and 6. JJ and Alex will call for it, and you can win fabulous prizes. DJ and PK, Jake Scott sitting in right now.
David, good morning.
Good morning.
I've got a couple thoughts for you real quick right off the bat. One, I can't believe I forgot to wear my long sleeve shirt.
It's cold in here.
So cold. And two, man.
It was kind of balmy today, though. It's been down at 61 some days. I think we're at 60. Oh, it's up to 66.
Okay.
It was 65 when I came in this morning. I actually texted PK that.
Two, man, your arms look tired. Your arms look tired. They're just, I mean, if you can go to the YouTube feed or KSLSports.com
don't go back.
and you can see David can barely lift his arms from all this water treading this morning. Just treading water for a solid hour. I wish I were here
Would a guest show
earlier.
up? Would any guest show up when you're flying solo? It's bad enough when there's two of you, but at least when there's two of you, it's like, well, have a conversation, talk about something. Let's go. But when you're just talking to yourself, which is tricky in the first place.
So as I was on my way in here and listening to you tread water, I had this thought, and I hope you take it the right way. And then
I'm going to take it the worst way possible.
And
Go
then
ahead.
we'll launch into a football convo. But I think a lot of people out there, and you know, I like to pull the curtain back a little bit. Everybody, you know, I think a lot of people out there consider David James a TV guy first, who also does radio.
Oh, that's funny. I had a text about that this weekend.
Okay.
But anyway, go
I
ahead.
think most people think that. I don't know why they automatically assume that, but I think most people do.
Not a boss who's very, very important to me, but go ahead.
I'm not even talking about what the bosses consider. I'm talking about the overall David James fan out there.
Sure. Okay.
And I don't know. I don't think you consider yourself one first over the other necessarily,
I really
but
don't.
you can.
It's just my life, and I go on to the next thing.
I'm just talking about what most people consider.
All right.
I will tell you, and this is my opinion. I think you are a radio guy who also does TV.
Why do you think that?
Because I think your personality, your brain is all suited for this format. And I'm not saying you're not good at TV, so that's why I'm saying it. Don't get me wrong. I think in fact, let me put it this way. I am amazed that how long's your average sports section of a news?
Well, that was
broadcast?
exactly what I was going to get to. If you are comparing this to doing 2 or 3 minutes on a newscast, I see what you're saying. But doing half-hour or hour shows is a different beast and is more radio.
But how do you get David James down to a half hour? I'm looking at Christian.
Well, I do an hour on Sunday.
No, the great part about this medium and the great part of radio is you get to know people, and you have so much personality, and there's so much to you. And I mean that as a 1,000% compliment. I don't think television does it justice. I really don't. I just listened to David James tread water on the radio, which, by the way, is incredibly difficult, for almost an hour. And I was dialed in. It was captivating. And you know what? TV guys can't do that. No offense to my dear friend Dave Fox. Not dear friend, but I do like Dave.
You're on your own right now. You know that.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
He was a TV guy doing radio. You know what I mean? He was. And I produced those shows. I had a blast, and it's not that those shows weren't good. But
3 words. Leave me alone. Go ahead.
No, you don't want to get no comment on Dave? I'm not saying.
How would that be helpful?
No, I'm not saying Dave was bad at radio the same way I'm not saying that you are bad at TV. But Dave.
Christian, are you counting all the compliments in there? Do you feel the compliments flowing?
No, I liked those shows. Dave and Hatch, those were super fun shows.
Yeah,
and they were a really good fit.
They had some serious laughs.
They were a really good fit together. But
Hatch has an infectious laugh, and Dave knew how to wind him up.
Yeah. But
Dave knew exactly how to wind him up.
But
yeah.
Dave's favorite part of the show was teasing talking sports. You know what I mean? I mean, and it's fine, you know, and it's fine. You are a radio guy who also does TV. That is my hot take, because I don't think you can squeeze David James, the personality, and you do it well, but I don't think you can squeeze that into a short television broadcast.
Oh, that's why.
That's my thought.
I get what you're saying about I early on I had a guy who actually I wasn't that close to, and he didn't like me, but he told me some really smart things about TV. He was in a weird place in his own life. I crossed paths with him at the wrong time in Sacramento, and but he said the people who make it in TV don't make it based on 3-minute sportscasts. No matter how good your 3-minute sportscast is, it looks too much like everybody else's 3-minute sportscast. We were in Sacramento. He says, well, on the weekend, everybody leads with the Niners and the Raiders. And when the Kings play, everybody leads with the Kings. It says the people who make it have a second vehicle. He said, and you can look around. He says, sometimes it's calling games. Sometimes it's the weekend shows, the half-hour, Saturday or Sunday show. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's doing radio. Those are the people who the sportscasters who break out, because until you get outside that 3-minute box, you can't show people who you are and what you know.
That's good advice.
It was brilliant advice. His name was John Henk.
There you go.
And he wanted to be in Minnesota. He didn't want to be in Sacramento. And he didn't want me, who was probably 10 or 15, 20, I don't even know how much younger I was than John, probably 15 years younger than John, coming in and being the weekday guy. He got passed over. So that was the hitch in the giddy up there. Yeah. But he was spot on about that. And I started thinking, the biggest guy in San Diego, Ted Leitner, calls the Chargers and the Clippers at the time, Padres and Aztecs at one point. He called all their games. Yeah. And the biggest guys in L.A., Fred Rogan and Jim Hill, both had Sunday night shows. And the KABC job kept turning over. Yeah, they didn't have a show.
Fred Rogan still does radio.
Does he still do radio? Yeah. I knew he was done doing TV. I didn't know he
does
still doing radio.
On the Fox affiliate.
Oh, yes.
In
L.A.
with Rodney Peete.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Former USC quarterback. Yeah, okay. Excellent. And in Sacramento, there was only one station doing a Sunday night show, and they didn't have sports talk radio at that point in Sacramento. They do now, but they didn't then. So, and that was the guy who made it, who was really clicking with the market. So and he had more time to show it. And then I got here, and I saw the same thing, right? Bowler was calling BYU games, and Dave Fox was calling Utah games. And Channel 4 went through multiple sports guys. Multiple. I can think of 3 off the top of my head. So, but they didn't have the second vehicle. So find yourself a second vehicle. Well, John Henk was spot on. And now that was, that's 30 plus years ago now. 33 years ago, probably he said that, 34.
It was like
and
10,
now, look at
10
the
years
media
ago,
market now.
DJ. Don't date yourself.
Yeah, no. Look at the media market now. Except, I was here for the Olympics, and that was more than 20 years ago.
Man.
But look at the way the media market has gone now, and podcasting has turned into a combination of radio and TV, right?
Yep.
You have to be on camera, and you have to be expressive, and you have to have the personality, but you have to have the knowledge. You have to be able to talk for a long period of time without running out of things to say or think. So,
thus treading water for an hour.
In a way, yeah, it's all about finding a podcasting platform and then running with it.
Yeah, I still hate the cameras because I am not a TV guy.
You on the future of media?
Because
I had no idea we were going down this road.
I am not a TV guy. This face was not meant for television.
I'm not sure this one was either, but okay.
This was not meant for TV. Yeah. And you know what? I don't know.
Why are you turning away from the camera?
I'd like to think, though, I have a lot of personality.
Okay.
And I wouldn't,
you do.
And I wouldn't want to be contained to just television. Like, television's so short. It's so little blips.
Well, again, you're talking about the newscast, but half-hour show.
Even the half-hour show. I mean, honestly, with commercials and packages and stuff, how much live?
We don't really do packages anymore. They've kind of gone away.
Have they really?
Yeah, they really have.
So you're doing live talk format.
A lot of interviews. A lot of interviews. A lot of long form highlights. People can see just one play, on social media and all that.
Yeah, right.
But if you want like the flow of a game, for the people, and I think that's really what's resonated with the highlight shows is that it's gotten so expensive to have all the providers. You need to see all the games.
Okay, now let
And
me.
so the local teams, you go to these shows and you'll see 2 and 3 minute highlight.
Let me ask you this: in your average long for the what we're talking about an hour, how much of that airtime do you spend talking about the moat?
Oh, that does get lost. Yeah, we don't have that.
The person.
The nonsense.
The person.
The albino alligators.
The personality, you know?
Yeah. Sometimes it's funny because there are consultants who try to squash that. So we used to have crosstalk between anchors, and that's when those kind of moments would happen.
Yeah.
But that's happy talk, and so now they use reveals to switch between anchors and cut out the.
But see, that's the magic.
The toss.
That's the magic of the medium.
There's definitely debates in newsrooms. No one newsroom. I mean, in 100 or 200 or 300 newsrooms about whether that's a good idea or not. And whether it happens or not just depends on whatever executive and whatever consultant has the power to make the call.
Like I would never to his face tell PK to tell golf stories. Certainly not more than he already does. Mm-hmm. But he's got great golf stories.
He does.
And people come to the show not just for you go to television news for the give me the news, right? Mm-hmm. That's the point of the format. The point of this format and its evolution, which is awesome. I mean, talk to like an old school guy like David like that or about that, where sports was when he started to where it is now. Yeah. And it's so personality driven and it's so, and
it's still relatively new.
Absolutely.
I mean, 40 years ago, there weren't 5 stations in America doing this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
There weren't.
And the ones that were little short shows where they were doing like descriptive stuff and not personality stuff or not hot takes even.
Yeah, when I was in Santa Barbara, my first job in radio, I had a half-hour sports show. And it was really just a bridge to get from the end of the news block that ran from 4 to 6:30 into whatever we were doing at night. Because if you had a 7:30 game, you'd often have a 7 o'clock pregame. And we had Dodgers, and we had UCLA, and we had UC Santa Barbara.
But your personality, and hopefully mine too, I'd like to think, translates so well to this medium. And especially now where authenticity
it would translate better if you didn't turn your chair away from the camera.
Yeah, right. It is such a value, authenticity. I will tell you, you don't reveal all of your personal business on the air. You're not one of those people. But I'd say
stories I could tell.
I'd say your personality on the air and off the air are absolutely incongruent. You know what again, you're not waving your personal stuff, good or bad, out there for everybody. But listen, if you and I pass in the hall and I get a hot Charger take, that's you know what I mean. That's not a.
Yes, guys. If they win a Super Bowl in LA, I'm going to be pissed.
See, exactly. And
they might.
And anyone who
Harbaugh was a good hire, so they might.
And anyone who consistently listens to this show could probably see the flop in your relationship with the Chargers. If you listen to this show, you knew that David had an ugly divorce with the Chargers once they left LA, and it is now a very sensitive topic.
I don't want to see my ex get married, Jake. That's what I'm saying.
It's now a very sensitive topic. So funny. Anyway, that's my long-winded way of trying to pay you a compliment. Let's talk football.
All right, Jake came. It is Tulane? Interesting.
Breaking news.
All right, there it is. All right, so
Retzloff committed to Tulane. Did you say that on the air? He didn't say that on the air.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
But is that official?
No.
That's official.
Hatch would have said that on the air. That's what David's used to.
So Christian just told us that Pete Thamel, a longtime college football reporter, he says ignoring all of Jake's nonsense, in a chair that creates nonsense.
Yeah, it does.
That Jake Retzlaff is going to Tulane. There had been a lot of talk. Notre Dame, Tennessee got thrown out there. I'm leaving somebody else out. Was it Northwestern? Yeah, I think. But it's Tulane in the end, which is not surprising. Jake's dad, Steve, is a longtime, he's retired now, but a longtime college football coach at the junior college and small college D2, D3 level down in Southern California. He got his start. He played at UC Santa Barbara and was a D-line coach there. And I worked in the next trailer in the sports information office and 1 year was on the team. That's a whole hilarious line of stories there. It was a club team, and they were just resuscitating it. And the talent levels varied wildly. We had a linebacker who was a transfer from Air Force. And the day he hit Christian Okoye, who was at Azusa Pacific, was on his way to the Kansas City Chiefs, and hit him at the line of scrimmage, that is the loudest explosion I've ever heard on a football field. Oh, my gosh.
Christian was a large man.
Yes, but we didn't have enough players to practice. I mean, a small team, you didn't have enough, and injuries, right? So late in the year, there's one of the kickers, not me, but another one, is running a crossing pattern because they made him be a wide receiver. And Klaus was so frustrated with this, and he had such anger issues that when the guy ran across the middle and he was looking at the quarterback, he raised his left arm and knocked him out. Just swung like an arm bar, just boom, caught him right in the ear, didn't see it coming, was looking the other way. It's a total cheap shot. Knocked him out, unconscious on the field. Crazy things happen. But Steve Retzlaff was a defensive line coach, so I'd lost track of him. But when Jake signed, I'm like,
you put the
how many
Retzlaffs
can there be, right? And so I did talk to him after a lot of this, and he mentioned a few of these schools, right? A few of the bigger schools. We're all parents. We're all parents, right?
Yeah.
He made bigger schools, and he did say, we love the coach at Tulane. And he said, the football coach in me thinks there's all these guys evaluate. He says, Jake is going to land somewhere where he's either clearly the starter or clearly the backup. They're not going to want to introduce, probably, a quarterback competition at this point. You don't really want to have them at this point. You may have to. BYU has to. But Utah and Utah State do not, right? So I'm not surprised he's ended up Tulane because I bet, and I don't know their roster and I didn't get into it with him, but I'll bet he's going there and he's the best quarterback with a chance to start, and that it'll be clear immediately.
That's interesting. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If I were he, and it sounds like that's kind of what you're saying too, I would have gone where I can play.
Right.
Last year,
And
I'm
you
going to go play. Now, it's interesting the coach side of it because that kind of matters a lot. If your dad is a coach, he automatically is going to value coaching with where he picks. So that makes that makes a lot of sense. Like, and that applies to players, children too. I'm sure Hans gave. I know the coach is different now at Utah State, but I know Hans gave a lot of thought and advice about consider who your coaches are, and what style you're going to be playing and all that stuff.
And so, you have to, but it's super risky because coaches move around so much.
They do. So you hope, you cross your fingers, and I know Hans is pretty thrilled that Broncos got that job up there, and Rock's going to come back from a mission and play because that stuff really matters. So that makes a lot of sense for Tulane, and I bet he goes down there and plays well. Yep.
We'll see how that goes. All right, DJ PK, we're going to take a break right now. Jake Scott is sitting in. We're talking college football next. Stay with us.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G. It's what you want.
So I'm trying to get my phone to not call me Hans.
All right, try it again.
Don't call me Hans.
Okay, what should I call you?
Hans.
You'd like me to call you Hats. Is that right?
No. Hans.
You'd like me to call you Pants.
It's the dumbest thing. What is my name, Google?
Your name is Hans.
God! Stupid. Dumb thing. Could you call me Hans, Ned?
You'd like me to call you Handsome. Is that right?
Well, it's better than Hans. Yeah.
Catch Hans and Scotty weekdays from noon to 3 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. For all of you, less motivated listeners, it's time for your 9 o'clock. Where the heck have you been headlines?
Where you at?
With DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. And it is time right now to get you up to date on all the stuff we've been talking about. It is brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary, 801-899-7600, or visit the website at trajanwealth.com. Jake Scott sitting in for PK this morning here for a little while. Jake, I want to talk football.
Okay.
Jake, the mic is over there. Jake.
I'm trying to bring up Lloyd's Twitter. Anyway, continue.
Over under lines. Just give me your gut reaction. Utah State, 4 wins in football. Over under 12 games.
Can I tell you that real quick before I answer your question, that I hate this topic because we don't know.
You derailed the whole hour, right?
No, I said I'm going to answer. But
we don't know, but it's fun in July to try to figure it out.
But I hate this new. It used to be. It's not.
Transfers ruined it for you. It's too impossible.
I don't even
now.
know who's on the team.
Well, there's 87 new guys.
So do I think?
So what you
for
do
what
know,
I know about Bryson Barnes, do I think they can win more than 4 games? Probably.
Yeah, but it's also what you know about Bronco.
But
Bronco's got the try-hard guy.
But what it is,
and they're going to be assignment sound.
Right.
And that league wasn't good last year. There were only 4 teams with winning records, and 2 of them were barely. It was basically a 2-team league, Boise State and UNLV. Programs that have been good were either not impressive, Fresno State, or just bad. San Diego State was 3-9. I mean, this is bad. And how many times, Broncos coached 18 years, how many times have his teams been bad?
I agree. Well, like once.
One.
Yeah.
The first year at Virginia was 2-10. That was bad.
And he took over
It was a mess, right? I know.
Program.
Yeah.
No, I could give you a take, and it could have some background right there. But you're also, David.
Mm-hmm. Supposing Bryson Barnes stays healthy.
No, but you're also ignoring, or not ignoring, Utah State doesn't play in a vacuum. Not only do I have no idea how good Utah State's going to be, I have no idea how good Boise State's going to be, or Fresno State, or UNLV. I have no clue. Nobody does, because all those schools are turning over rosters. And let me give you an example. Last year, I thought that Utah's schedule lined up to be really hard at the beginning and really easy at the end. Mm-hmm. It turned out the exact opposite.
Well, just like the Standies did.
It was the exact opposite.
Just like the Standies did.
So I get it. In July, I'm going to come on and say, hey, David, I think Utah's schedule really lines up well for them this year. I'm thinking that I'd take the over on that 9 over under. And, I'm lucky that everybody forgets about those hot takes, because I could not have been more wrong if I tried. Not only did they not hit whatever number it is, but the schedule didn't line up for them in the slightest. Because I had no idea that Cam Scattaboo was going to run over the entire dang league. Nobody did. So, what about Genty with Boise State, right? That's you're missing a huge chunk. Yep. Huge chunk. Like the entire reason Boise State was any good last year. So, do I think they're going to win against Boise State, Utah State? I have no idea.
You have a pretty good idea.
No clue. You just told me all this good stuff about Bronco, and I just told you that Boise State lost their entire team from last year.
What Bronco normally does is, 5-7 in New Mexico, 6-6 at BYU his first year, 6-7 I think his second year at Virginia. I think this will be a 500 team. If 4 is a push, I don't think they'll go to 3. I think it'll end up on 5 or 6 wins. I'll take the over. Do I think they're going to beat Boise State? No, they almost never beat Boise State. It's a better program.
Well, Arizona State was not as good a program as Utah.
It could happen, and they have beaten them, and they have won. And Absolutely. Utah State has won the league, and they've gone there and played in the final and lost. Right? They've been there twice, and they went 1-1. So sure, they could, but one year they lost to Boise, and Boise dropped 2 other games, and they snuck past them.
So
caught a break there.
If I were a betting man,
but that's more than a decade in the league. And they got Boise State a couple of times.
If I were a betting man, and I'm not, I'd take the over on Utah State.
What would you do on Utah?
What's their number?
Or PK, as PK would say, on your Utes. The number is 8.
Man, PK's the worst. I told you sent me a picture yesterday. The number is 8.
Now, see, you got to finish that thought, because right now people could take that and go a number of directions, Jake.
Oh, yeah, okay. He's at the Mets ballpark. Where do they play? What's it called?
Shea Stadium.
No,
Citi Field.
Citi Field. Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, I just thought I'd make an old guy joke.
Here, I can tell you what he said. Hold on.
He sent the same picture to all of us, and he said different stuff.
What did he say to you?
Paid a small fortune for 9th row seats, and Alonzo ain't playing. Ed Kranepool never took a day off in my day. But that's probably the photo.
That is exactly the
photo. Same photo, different captions. We know how PK works. Works smarter, not harder.
And then PK said to me, really bugs me that you disrespect my long-held Mets fandom. And I text back, "You're not a Mets fan. You're a Filgerbacks fan." Because he is a Filgerbacks fan.
Explain Filger. Because right now, people who aren't hardcore don't know what you're talking about.
Somehow, PK is at the same time a Phillies fan.
That's because he grew up in Jersey and he didn't want to root for the New York teams like everybody else in North Jersey. So he rooted for Philly because he had some friend down in South, cousin or whatever down. I guess maybe his sister moved down to South Jersey.
He's also a Dodger fan.
That's because he rode at the Breeze for a decade. Yeah,
you're not supposed to be a fan of the team when you cover it. And Diamondbacks fan.
Diamondbacks fan. His wife's from Arizona. He lived there. They arrived after he was up here in Utah,
and those two teams happen to be in the same league or division. So
all three are in
the same league.
Two in the same division.
And so, PK seems to be riding high about baseball every day because odds are one of those three teams is going to win. So I tease him about it. In fact, didn't the Phillies play the Dodgers last year in the playoffs?
I think they did.
He was very conflicted. Very, very conflicted. Anyway, where were we? 8 on the Utes.
Dude, I don't know, man.
8 on the Utes.
Been all over the map.
Under. I would probably take the over because I'm betting that the offense is at least going to produce yardage, which was the problem, obviously, last year. Production. Like any production. I think that they're putting in an option offense. If people are looking, spread it out and sling it around the field, that's not what Jason Beck is bringing to the table. Mm-hmm. Speaking of UVA, go look at Robert and I's offenses at UVA. That's probably what he wants to do. More so probably, I'm thinking maybe post-Dampier, ideally that was where he came up, Jason was really under Bob at UVA, then followed Bob to Syracuse, and then went with Bronco to New Mexico as a coordinator. So think UVA offense in Robert and I's time there, which was really good and really productive, but then a little more option. There's going to be a little more option with Dampier. So it's going to be very much a running offense. Now the question is, does he go fast and go hard? Is this going to be kind of like Bob at BYU where they're not huddling at all and they're hustling up to the line of scrimmages as quick as possible? Because I'll tell you that right now, that Witt will hate that.
Because of how quickly he can put his defense back on the field.
He will hate that.
Everyone's with the 3 and out, you're back on the field so quickly. Yeah, well, wait till you have back-to-back 3 and outs.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when Witt's head will explode.
Witt will hate that very much. So how is the offense going to work? I don't know that it's seamless, but I'm fairly confident saying it will be more productive than it was last year, which will lead to, I would guess, several more wins.
It's got to be more productive than last year.
Exactly.
It's got to. Last year was abysmal.
And they almost won some of those abysmal games, even though they scored once.
Depending on who you are, you can argue 3, 4, or 5 more wins.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, I
5 gets pretty optimistic, but again, depending on who you are.
I do think Utah is significantly better this year for those reasons. I mean, Utah's really struggled for 2 consecutive years, if you really think about it.
Yeah, and they've had quarterback injuries 2 consecutive years. So if Dampier runs all those options, how many hits can he take? He was small in the Mountain West. Well, the Big 12, they're just bigger. I watch Mountain West football. I turn on a San Diego State game after I'm done late at night and after everything's put to bed here, and they're smaller. Just watching the game, it's such a change.
The successful Utah running quarterbacks have all been really good at picking their spots. Tyler Huntley was not initially good at it. He eventually became very good at it. And I don't think Dampier is going to be like Tyler
Huntley. He was rolling out of Arizona State, jacked up his shoulder, and missed the last 5 games of the season.
Travis Wilson was remarkably good at when he ran. You can think of multiple games that he won with his legs, but he did not run.
Ugliest hit I've ever seen on the sideline at Michigan. He lands on his face and his body bends backwards.
And he, played the next week. He finished the game.
Yeah.
But Alex Smith was remarkably good at picking his spots in the.
That's a true story. I thought you were going to go Brian Johnson, and
he was good at it too.
And he tore his ACL against New Mexico.
But that was his sophomore year.
And he jacked up his shoulder against Oregon State.
That was his
junior year in the opener, and he missed a month.
I mean, but can you go through every team in the country and pick out their quarterback?
But the
point is,
but it's you. the more times you get hit, the odds increase. And you could beat the odds and stay healthy and run the ball a lot, and you could be a pure pocket quarterback and get hit in the pocket and get hurt. So anything can happen, but when you're playing the odds and playing the percentages, I think it gets pretty clear what happens.
But I would bet on Utah's offense being more productive, and so I would bet they win more games. So the number at 8, I mean, that's probably where it is for a reason, I guess. But I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say over. You?
Yeah, I took over.
All right.
What about BYU?
Where's theirs?
6.5. The only one that had the half. No push. Win or lose.
Well, see, they have the biggest question mark, though.
They have a massive question mark.
And
to your point, we really don't know what these guys look like. One guy's a freshman. One guy was off playing in the MAC. Okay, I'm not watching MAC football. I got no idea. Now, one guy's local, and he was at Utah State. I got an idea with McKay Hillstead. But you got to ask size, durability questions with him. He got hurt playing in the Mountain West, and again, the guys are bigger.
So
I think he's a smart quarterback, though. I get why A-Rod wants him in the program.
But there is connective tissue at BYU specifically through all their peaks. You know, you go back to 1984. You can talk about 96. You can talk about 06.
I didn't know where you were going at first. I'm starting to get it. And what is the connective tissue in your mind?
They have a really good upperclassman quarterback.
There it is. Welcome to college football.
Sure, but it's particularly true at BYU. You know, there's
Alex Smith, third year in the program, Fiesta Bowl, Brian Johnson, fifth year in the program, Sugar Bowl.
Sure, but they were also really good in 03, and Alex Smith had never played before.
Mm-hmm. Well, he had, but just a couple of drives at San Diego State to break his eligibility.
But there's a lot of Paul Shoemakers and Brett Ingemans and, you know, a lot of underclassmen who were put into positions where they did not succeed.
It was
right?
a struggle.
And even somebody like Zach Wilson, his freshman year, we all remember the bowl game where he didn't miss a pass, right? Mm-hmm. But that year was not spectacular. Gordon Monson, my buddy, was writing columns about him going into year number 2 saying, oh, I have no idea if this is the guy, you know? And it's because underclassmen quarterbacks struggle most places, but particularly at BYU, they have their best seasons when they have an upperclassman stud quarterback. And that was setting up to be true this year, which is why I'm sure there was so much optimism. And now you're right back to, well, David's talking about a freshman. Do they go to the Bear? You know, it's right back to the convo that was happening when Zach Wilson was a freshman. Do they go with a freshman? They don't have anybody else. And all of a sudden they're playing in the Idaho Potato Bowl. But 6.5 is a really low number. So to take the under, you got to think they're really going to suck. And I don't know.
On paper, they're playing the bottom half of the league a lot.
Right.
There's a tough 3-game stretch in the middle of the league.
But see, you don't get the nickname Hot Take Jake by taking the over on every local school.
Well, that
DJ,
I gotta. That set me up when I did it earlier today, because then it led into the next thing, and there was a national team that we can go into here, and I went under on them, and now I'm just homer local guy. Oh, yeah, all the local teams are going to be great, and the national team's going to suck. Uh-huh. The truth is, these 3 programs since 2010, and longer than that for Utah and BYU, but since Utah State got good under Gary Anderson the first time and won that WAC title, and then went into the Mountain West and was good, pretty much right away. Uh-huh. These teams have overachieved, and these are low expectations for these 3. I mean, a combined 18.5 wins, that's a low number for what these programs historically do. And I get the game's changing, and I get there's situations with BYU quarterback and Utah with a brand new roster and a brand new head coach, and Utah with a new offensive coordinator, so maybe the lower number is deserved. But some of those people hit lower numbers not because they're a bad team, but because injuries got the team.
Yeah, which again brings me right back to we have no idea.
But are you more positive about the season or less positive then?
I got to say I'm more positive about it right now.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen anything. Again, getting back to that point, that we don't know anything. And I guess that's why they call it gambling.
Right? That is why they call it gambling.
Strange.
Now, having said that, when you hear a Dallas Cowboy player talking about the Super Bowl, do you just roll your eyes? Like, dude.
Yeah, but I heard Brent Castile say he was going to win the Heisman when he first got
here.
Yeah. Players say a lot of stuff. And honestly, if you
get asked a question, you have to answer, and you're a Dallas Cowboy. What else can you say?
Well,
also,
and then
you get painted into a corner.
That's the same version as every coach. You ask them what their goal was, and it's win the conference title first. mean, it's kind of like a
Get bowl eligible and save my job first.
yeah. You're never going to say that. If Jerry's listening to every word too because he's a sick man.
Obsessed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So of course he's going to say that. Do I think he's right? No, I don't.
All right, DJ PK, when we come back, everything you missed in this show, your reaction to it next. Stay with us.
And it's all over almost here.
Don't go nowhere.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
If the Jazz had won any of these games, Kyle Filipowski, I think right now would probably be the front runner to be Summer League MVP. He's averaging 29.3 points per game in Summer League right now.
He is super skilled.
Yeah, he's an incredible
really
offensive talent.
But is he going to be a starter on a playoff team? Because that's what we're talking about when we're talking about these young players showing something.
Yeah, are you going to start?
Are you going to be good enough to be a starter
on the next good Jazz team?
On the next good Jazz team.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of the conversation.
You're exactly right. And what you do in Summer League does not necessarily imply that you're going to be able to do it in the regular season. It's nice that he's better than all these players on the floor right now. He keeps outplaying everybody around him. And he's done that his whole life, and that is a big deal.
Yeah.
Being a butt kicker matters. You've been better than everyone every step of the way is a really good sign.
Hear Jake Scott and Ben Anderson every day from 10 to noon on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. And now, enough of us. It's time to hear from you. From all your texts, tweets, and posts. This is the best feedback of the day.
Ooh, I was there. It's the best game of my life.
With DJ and PK on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, David. Want to remind you to nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at kslsports.com/contest. Listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week, sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals.
Questions of the morning. College football over-under win totals, courtesy of Circa and Scotty G. BYU at 6.5, and BYU sports fans said 6.5 games is easy money. Cougars start 4-0 heading into the West Virginia game, and they still got at Arizona, Cincinnati, home to UCF. 7 wins right there. Petty bleep Ute fan. What's this guy smoking? He's optimistic, Grok says, but not entirely off base. BYU's 2025 schedule yields winnable games. Portland State, Stanford, ECU, Colorado. Could be 4-0 before West Virginia. Honestly, I think the ECU and Colorado games could be more difficult than West Virginia.
Yeah,
West Virginia has a ton of turnover and a brand new coach and no defense.
Yeah, and Dion doesn't have his kid or Travis Hunter anymore.
Right,
so
but he does have a quarterback transferring in from Liberty who played really well, G5 football, so I'm not ruling it out. I'm just saying it's more difficult. Hey, they could be 5-0. I don't know. I think East Carolina, they've gone to East Carolina and lost. It's a long way to go. It's a G5 program, but it is a G5 program that, like Fresno State, when they're good, they can be pretty good, and I don't have any idea what they have this year.
Yeah, I don't know. Dion,
on paper, ECU and Colorado scare me more than West Virginia.
Okay.
But I would say right now, I'd say 4-1 after 5 games.
Dion crying about NIL at Media Day probably wasn't a good sign.
Oh, agreed. I mean, I think he spent it on, especially seeing where the league has gone. I think that Colorado's probably done well, but then you turn around and saw Texas Tech and went, oh, jeez.
Yeah, well, we'll see if Texas Tech's any good. They're never good.
But did they spend the money on the right players? It's great to have a lot of money.
Well, it was hilarious when Texas A&M spent all the money on all the players and then was just terrible. And then
that
they had
actually is totally hilarious. You're correct on that. That is one of the most hilarious things going.
They had to spend $90 million on Jimbo Fisher's buyout, right? Something like that.
And they're going to end up 8-4.
Which they always do.
They always end up 8-4.
So why would I think Texas Tech's
going to be
any good? They go 4-0
in non-conference, and then they go 4-4 in league. They've done it a bunch.
It's what you what
and the
you
one
do
time
with
they go
those
3-1 in non-conference, then they go 5-3 in league. They have their big year in the SEC.
So I don't know.
Never a factor.
You know, Texas Tech can call me when it happens.
Did you see all the people the last few days just taking shots at the SEC? The SEC says the Big 12 is no good, and then Texas, who can't win the Big 12 except one time in like 15 years, shows up and immediately wins the SEC and is picked to win it again.
It is funny.
It is funny.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
It is
the
funny.
SEC, we're really good. Okay. Shut up.
Are you?
No.
Are you?
Go on the road, play non-conference games, and let's see. Because when LSU went out and played a very mediocre USC team in Las Vegas, they lost.
Yeah, the SEC.
Florida
rides,
came to Utah. They lost.
They ride their rep more than other leagues.
Oh,
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah.
Like, just try not to lose to Georgia State, okay, SEC?
Yeah, but they've got the mouse on their side, so
They lost to Georgia State.
rough.
Vanderbilt lost to Georgia State and then beat Alabama.
And it's not actually a particularly deep league either. Usually there is a really good one or two, and then
it's 5 programs, 3 of which can be very good. I mean, when LSU was really good, they were really good.
for
as
that
much
one year.
Okay, but that year, but the next, Alabama had a team when they were really good, and they passed it around. So they have someone really good at the top of the league, but like they have 5 programs to be really good, but nobody thinks Florida's been good. Maybe they're finally back. Nobody thinks Auburn is good, and nobody thinks they're back. And those are some of their marquee programs.
But this is Arkansas's year.
Georgia, LSU, Bama, and there's your 5.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you. You're preaching.
I think these big leagues, I'm interested to see if they break up. And I know for TV negotiating purposes,
they won't.
Sure, but USC's picked 9th, and Oklahoma's picked way down the list
I know,
too.
and I've been hearing people complain about the travel, but it's not gonna change a dang thing. They're making $100. The Big Ten is making $100 million a school.
Yep.
$100 million
a school,
You
and
heard
the
me.
number's only going up.
You'll finish 9th for $100 million. These are greedy universities, after all. We're talking about people that really prioritize money. They're not leaving that
Lots of
anytime
people
soon.
really prioritize money.
All right, but they're no different.
Maybe not Scotty Scheffler. He just wants to be with his family.
I'm so glad we didn't talk about that.
I know you are.
So happy about that.
All right, we have to get done so you don't steal time for yourself.
Yeah, I got Scotty G coming up next.
All right, stick around. DJ and PK, we're all done. Jake and Scotty G coming up. Stay with us.